Another topic that we have is views. Let's see what is view. Views is database object like table. So table is database object, sequence is database object. Likewise, view is also database object. View contains only sigma part. It doesn't create the table physically, which means view is mainly used to provide the restriction on columns of any table to particular user. It is just extra security on master table. So master table is the main table. If we do any changes in view, then it will reflect in master table. If we do any changes in master, it will get reflected in view. View is just logical representation of master. View is not creating any data. It's just showing representation from master. It's a static and dynamic. It is of static and dynamic. There is two type of views. In static, we cannot do any operation. In dynamic, we can do operation that is allowed or given access. In static view, aggregate function is being used, so there will be one result which cannot be changeable, because when we are going to, suppose we get the SID, only SID of some user, then what we can do on that? Or suppose we counted using select count, we count all the members, all the users, all the customers that are inside the table. Then what? Then suppose we get, when we use this select statement with count, we get 8. What changes we can do on this 8? We can't do anything. So that is what static means. We can't do any changes on a static. In a static view, aggregate function is used. So there will be one result with which we cannot do anything. So it's a static view. We can only read or see. But in dynamic view, aggregate function is not going to be used. So the syntax for view is like this: create view, view name as select step. You can take it as exactly we are creating a new table. Suppose create table, table name, then we are using as, then we are using select statement. That is that we want to copy whole table from another table or only some columns. So this is the same thing. But when we are going to get this new view, create view, new view, view name as select statement, and then if we are going to do any changes in this, suppose we are going to insert new data inside a view, then also that data is going to get reflected when we are using select statement to select the master table. Suppose here we have tables. What tables we have? Okay, let's do it in MySQL. So tables. Suppose we have my accounts. Select star from my accounts. We don't have anything in my accounts. Let's try a different one. Students. We have this data in student. If we want to create new table, what we can do? Create table stud1 as, then we are going to write again select star from students. So what will happen? This whole selected student data that we are calling from this query is going to get inserted in a new table. So exactly same data will we can find in this table. Now if we are going to do any changes in this stud1, suppose we are insert into stud1 and suppose in CID, now CID in SID column values we are inserting 99. So we inserted this 99 in stud1 that we created here. Is that this is 99, this row is also going to be present in this master table from which we created this stud1? No, you can check this here. It's not here. But with the help of view, we can do this. Suppose we created view. So we are using select statement, and instead of creating table, we will say view, and it's view 1. So we are creating view 1 as and select statement from student table. So let's generate view got created, and if we are going to insert any data in this view, suppose view, if we are inserting any data in the view that we just created, suppose 999, then this value is also going to get reflected in this student, the parent table, which is master table. Here we inserted the value in the view, and you can find this here. So what view is doing, and also vice versa, if we are going to insert any data or do any changes, suppose we delete any data or insert or update any data, anything right here, then inside student, then those changes are also going to get reflected in the view. And if we do any changes, insert, update, delete in view, then those changes are going to reflected in student 2, students table. This is what view is. We are just making logical representation. We are not creating duplicate table. View is not creating any data. It's just showing representation from master. From master, it's just a representation. We provided value inside view, and that is getting reflected also in the students, from where we created this view. From where we created this view. That's how it works. But what if we are creating the view? Suppose we are creating view 2. But in select statement, we are only trying to add, we are trying to count students from student table. So select count, suppose count SID from students, and then whatever data is coming from here, that we are making view, create table, not table, create view. Whatever data is coming from this, you can say subquery of that data, we are creating new view, create view. Let's see. Select star from view 2. We got 11. So SID got counted. So here is the 10 and 1, 11. So it's 11. Whole students are 11. And the data that get represented from here is getting stored in create view 2 in view 2. So this is of type static view. We can't perform any changes. We can't delete this data. This doesn't mean anything. But when we created view 1, in that view we use this query through which we are copying every data, every column from the parent table, which is students. So in that type of data we can do changes. But when we created view 2, we are using this query, which is only returning one value, which is 11. So with 11 we can't do any operations. So this is static view. It becomes a static view. We can't do any operations because it's aggregate function. What it says in static views, aggregate function is being used. So there will be only one result. So we get only one result with which we can't do anything. What you can do with anything? You can delete, you can update, or you can't insert any data inside this. That's why this is the static view. Another one, the one that we made view 1 before, is dynamic view, because we can do certain queries, run certain statements over that. Again, queue is not generating any duplicate of the file. It is just showing the same parent table as a view. If we do any changes here, it is going to reflect here. If we are going to do any changes here, it is going to reflect here. Let's move on. So it's the practice table. You can go from this practice table 5. It's practice lab 5. We already covered practice lab 1, practice lab 2, 3, 4, and it's time for 5, in which probably you will going to find questions from view and other topics, maybe sequence, auto commit. You will see auto commit in practice lab 4 and all these type of questions. So you must have to go through practice lab 5 and even all the practice lab. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 or maybe 5. That's important because again, database is all about the syntaxes. You must have to do coding and analyze the outputs. That's how you will see which query is returning what value and what you have to use in order to tackle any type of questions. So it's the lab 5. Let's move on from this one. And it's also type of views. We already covered static views, dynamic views, static views. Static view is also called as read-only view, because with a static view you can't do anything. It's read-only view. If view is static, then you can only read the data from view. You cannot perform any insertion, deletion or update operations on view. In dynamic view is also called as updatable view, because you can do certain queries, you can run queries, statements over there. So it's called updatable view. Dynamic view is called as updatable view, and static view is called as read-only view. In view, if view is dynamic view, then you can read the data from the view as well as you can perform insert, delete, update operations on view also. Let's go through other topics. Here we have some examples. We created a table, inserted a table, we created a view. Then we are updating the value from at the parent table of this view. We are updating the value here. Then those values are also waiting to reflected in this view. Okay, this is all about views. Let's move on the next topic. Transaction management is the next topic.